Why do you think enterprises are not making profit out of AI?
What is really easy these days is to purchase AI and to spend money on AI, but to actually get money back from it, it's really hard.
When you hear the Tesla says Model S, it doesn't say System S, it says Model S.
You heard him. The model is just a token generator. To make it business ready, you need an...
It will be that there are 80% of people doing and 20% directing. In a few years, we're going to see 80% directing, 20 doing.
2 years ago, every company said AI would change everything. Today, boards are asking a much simpler question. Why did we spend millions and get nothing back? If 2023 was a year of magic and 2024 was the year of pilot, then 2025 was officially the year of the hangover. We are waking up, looking at our cloud bills and asking the question that gets you kicked out of the cool parties. Where is the money? For the last 2 years, we treated artificial intelligence like a party trick. But the state of enterprise AI right now isn't about who has the smartest chatbot. It's about who has a business model that survives the hype cycle. To understand where we are, I dug into the Agent Build Expert Exchange archives. I found a recurring theme from top experts and strategists. We need to stop calling it artificial intelligence and start calling it something else entirely. If you could rename artificial intelligence, what would you call it?
Let's call it profitable intelligence.
Why do you think enterprises are not making profit out of AI? Because I thought AI is awesome. Everyone says it will solve all the problems, so making profit is quite natural. Why did you have to write a book on it?
Yeah, if it was so natural, then I wouldn't have written a book at it, and then probably there wouldn't be have been so many people who have read and bought the book. So yeah, what I've seen and I've been doing AI consulting now for the past 5 years, that it is really incredibly hard to actually get arrive from AI. What is really easy these days is to purchase AI and to spend money on AI. It's never been easier than that. But to actually get money back from it, or to turn it into your investment into a return, or get returns from that, that's actually it's really hard. And there are lots of different factors that come in, and probably we'll talk about those. But this is what I see. It's nothing that happens automatically.
Profitable intelligence. That is the metric for 2026. Tobias Zwingman, an AI strategy author, nailed it. The barrier to entry is low, but the barrier to profit is incredibly high. We spent 2 years buying tools, but we didn't buy the strategy. Many enterprises I spoke with had their AI demo that impressed the board in 5 minutes. 6 months later, they were quietly shutting down those systems. Because these systems couldn't remember the past decisions, they broke compliance rules and started giving different answers to the same customer every week. So why are so many companies failing to get the return on investment? It's because leaders and builders confused a model with a system. We thought plugging into an API was the same as building a product. We treated LLMs like they were employees we could just chat with, rather than engines that need a car built around them. Dennis Rothman, an AI pioneer who was patenting transformer concepts back in the 80s, explains this perfectly with a car analogy.
Look at an advertisement for Ferrari, which is one of the most beautiful cars in the world. Or look at a nice Tesla, okay, keeping all the politics apart. When you hear the Tesla says Model S, it doesn't say System S, it says Model S. So in the minds of the consumer, the model of a car, a Ferrari, Mercedes, that's it. The consumer doesn't see all the mechanics inside of it. The engine is the LLM model or the A model. The car is everything. So if we're going to a business, the model is only a small component. It can be any of the good models, Gemini, Llama. You have to build the system. So the illusion is when you go to ChatGPT, they have succeeded bringing that confusion. The model is the system, but it's not true. The platform is mostly not AI. It's just when you load a file, it goes to a service. When you load an image, it goes to another service. When it does a web search, it does a classical web search. So there's no such thing as the model. It is in a framework that a corporation will have to build.
You heard him. The model is just a token generator. To make it business ready, you need an AI controller, an architecture that forces the model to follow rules, respect governance, and actually remember what happened yesterday. But even the best architecture collapses if the foundation is rotten. And this brings us to the dirty secret of 2025. Data. Eduardo Audux, a go-to-market leader in AWS, created a viral meme that sums up the current state of the enterprise data. And it's not pretty.
Everyone wants to be AI first, they forget about data. Because of course in the past, and this is the big difference, right? In the past, you really had, or you really need to have data to build your models, right? Like, hey, I'm going to build a classifier model, I need to have my data, so I train the model and I get results. Right now, because you already have the models there, you can use OpenAI, you can use Claude, you can use Gemini, whatever. It seems like, hey, because you don't need to train a model, you just don't need to have the data. But at the end of the day, this is what is going to happen, right? If you put like, you know, like a garbage in, it's garbage out. I mean, like if you are using messy data, not updated data, unclean data, you won't have like very good results. Actually, you're going to get the opposite. I mean, like, it's not about, you know, like not having a good result. It's about you are going to take actions based on something that is wrong. So sometimes it's better to do nothing rather than doing something that is going to affect how you deal with your customers, how you deal with your employees or whatever.
You see, sometimes it's better to do nothing. That is a hard pill to swallow for leaders rushing to be AI first. But without clean data, your expensive AI agent is just hallucinating faster than a human could. Now let's assume you fix the data, you build the system. Now who does the work? This is the massive shift we have seen in 2025. The move from chatbots to agents. We weren't just using AI to write emails anymore. We were hiring digital teammates. The teams that master agent orchestration will operate at 10x capacity. The ones that don't will watch their margins evaporate as competitors deliver the same outcomes with a fraction of the headcount. And in the middle, stuck in the AI pilot purgatory. Impressive demos, zero production value. Sanjeev, the founder of Humbot, describes a world where we don't hire for headcount, we hire for outcome. He's seeing enterprises use Humbots, human-like bots, to scale one expert into 10.
We did not create Humbot just because we saw the potential of generative AI. Generative AI is probably an accelerator in the Humbot vision. But for about 10 years, I've always seen two big problems in the enterprise space. One of skills gap. So skills gap around deep technical experts. So businesses that adopt the cloud or sort of deep on-premise systems need experts to run those tools and platforms. And those experts are not available everywhere at the right price point, for the right tenure, with the right skills. So that was a skills gap that we noticed. And then when I started working with my co-founder, he potentially was one of the best engineers. I would say he was one of the best engineers on the planet. But again, he could not scale himself beyond 2 or 3 customers at one point in time. So the part of us starting Humbot was a simple idea to say, how do we unlock my co-founder's deep engineering expertise to say 1,000 customers? And then generative AI agents seem to be the right vehicle of choice to get there. So I think that's kind of how Humbot is positioned. It's about, as you said in the introduction, it's about allowing customers for deep curated expertise on a talent as a tap model. With customers, we are seeing outcome delivery of at 10% the cost of traditional expertise mix. So with one of our customers, which is kind of one of the largest organizations in the world, and we're just grateful to be part of that journey, their journey, so early as a fledgling startup. They had goals around building like a data platform across a global scale. And traditionally, that would have involved setting up expert teams centrally in a central organization and then operating countries where you then need to expand for influence. We've kind of flipped that model, the expertise mix, by saying very few humans scaled via Humbots. So we're already seeing the delivery of that outcome at about 1/10 the cost. And that's where it becomes kind of a no-brainer when we speak with the exec layer and land this.
Hear him out. So 10% of the cost. But what does that mean for the human in the loop? This is where the nature of work flips upside down. Craig, the chief AI officer at Capgemini, identifies a fundamental inversion in how we spend our day. We are moving from doing to directing.
Split will be that there are 80% of people doing and 20% directing. And now we're seeing that inverting. In an agentic world over the next few years, we're going to see 80% directing, 20 doing. And the directing will be directing cohorts of agents and blended teams of people plus agents in the future. What that means is, from a roles and responsibilities perspective, people need to think differently about what's valued in their people and in their teams. And we've seen this debate and conversation on social media about intelligence versus agency, right? And for those that haven't seen it, like, as intelligence becomes more commoditized, as people in roles, having an agency mindset is more important. And that stands for owning your own destiny, being able to continuously learn, handling uncertainty, being able to understand how to interact with AI, but to remain critical in thinking. Because more and more, as we rely on intelligence from machines, having the critical mindset to actually be able to interpret and still think.
80% directing, 20% doing. But if you are directing agents, you need to understand the stack you are managing. Sairam Sundaresan, the author of AI for the Rest of Us, argues that the danger isn't the AI taking the job. The danger is the human refusing to update their stack of skills to become the director.
If you think about a job, it's like a stack of things that have to be done in a certain sequence, and the more expertise you have in each of those parts of the stack, the more valuable you are. As the stack changes, so do you, hopefully.
No, I think there might be a protest against adoption of AI tools, and
Right.
you reject using them at one point. Do you see that coming?
It's possible. Obviously, we really can't predict the future. But one thing I do see quite a bit is we're seeing, I'll actually draw a parallel with photography, where I've seen this happen before. Like, you've had painting, which was considered sort of this classical art of replicating the world. And then when photography first came out, people were up in arms saying, this is not art, this cannot be, hung in museums. And lo and behold, we're having photo galleries and whatnot. And then a newer version of that came much later, where people were complaining that Photoshop or other tools where you post-process your digital images are sort of not preserving the natural world, or any image as it is, it's amplified. And now you have one step further, where you have AI generated images, where you're saying, it's not real, it's fake, or it's manipulating. So there is a line along each of these shifts, and I feel that for some people, they will continue to remain purists, and fair play to them if they want to. But for most people, AI is sort of lifting. It's like a rising tide that's lifting all boats. So if you are a boat that's part of this tide, you're naturally going to do more that you were probably not able to do previously.
So we move from operations, people who turn the crank, to architects, people who design the machine. As Dennis Rothman puts it, you can automate the operator, but you cannot automate the architect.
There are two kinds of people: pure operators and architects. You can automate pure operators to a certain extent, but you can't automate the architects, and you can't automate the architect in the operator. So I'll go back to a very specific example. One of my first projects was to automate the optimization of fabric in a huge apparel company. And the manager says, well, once that system works, we don't need people to plan anymore. And I said, sure, go ahead. If you want your whole company to fail, go ahead. Automate the whole. You can automate maybe out of 5 people, maybe you can suppress 2, 3, but you have to keep 2. And he says, why do I have to do that? It costs me money. I said, that is a very stupid. I told him exactly that. That's stupid reasoning, because what you're going to save with this system is millions and millions, and what this person costs is just thousands. And he said, who's going to pilot the system? I said, a worker. But the worker doesn't know how to use a computer. I said, I'll train him. What I'm saying is, in the years to come, I would say in the next 5 years, people are going to go full throttle, automate, fire people, go ahead. And all of a sudden, they're going to kick out the know-how of their company with the people, just like Europe did by subcontracting all production in Asia. And now they're saying the United States in the West, oh, we're going to reindustrialize. Well, they aren't. because they lost all the know-how of the old people that were 40, 50, 60. When the United States says, Taiwan, come and build chips in the United States, they don't know how to build them anymore. They don't have to build cars. You're going to have to train people for a generation. You cannot automate. You can't automate the business process. You have to keep people in there, and you can only reduce the number of people, but you can't suppress the people. So you need, in the first chapter, I show a RACI, RACI. You need someone to design the system. You need someone to maintain it. What do you do when the computer stops? The server goes, we automate it. So you're going to need people all the time, and especially to design. How is someone going to go in a workshop to get the knowledge and the rules with an LLM? Now the LLM just can bring one token at a time. You're not going to replace that person. So you're going to need, what I'm going to say is, the architecture threshold of training will be that high. The operators will disappear.
We know the problem, profitability. We know the workflow, 80% directing, 20% doing. We know the role, the architect. So as a leader in 2026, what is the actual play? How do you survive the consolidation of the market? Craig outlines a strategy that seems contradictory, but it's actually brilliant. You have to go deep and broad simultaneously.
But I think that when you talk about starting now as well, to me, there are two key strategies that I would talk to any leader of a business about. The first is to pick some priorities, focus, and go deep all the way to production with AI, whatever those few use cases are. And we spoke about it earlier. Some of the big barriers to getting to scale are not taking this whole of system approach. Focus on a key area, whether it be optimizing for reduced scrappage in how you manufacture, or driving out cost in procurement and how you procure, or driving up an X percentage in NPS and how you deliver better customer experience, or reducing false positives and fraud, whatever it be. Pick an area and take that use case all the way to production. Consider it of a full slice of technology, data, AI, application integration, people and process change. You'll learn a heck of a lot, and you'll be able to make that a foothold to start to scale more and more across your organization as well. The second strategy is the absolute contradiction to what I've just said. Go broad across your organization as well. And with the go broad piece, what you want to do is to provide access to tools for people to start to experiment in safe and non-regrettable ways. Give people access to AI tools that allow for them to augment how they run meetings, how they do research, how they collaborate across the organization, how they mine for information. Those are all things that you can do with relatively low risk, and you can start to turn the tide on culture. So go broad and narrow on those no regrets, go deep and focused on particular priorities, and all the way to production.
So go deep on the high value problems, get them to production. Go broad on the low risk experiments, let your culture adapt. But here is the final warning. Do not build your strategy on the hype continuing. Build it assuming the hype crashes. Tobias wants us to prepare for the failure of the market consolidation.
Can you give some advice, tough love to leaders in businesses on how they should start the new year?
Oh yeah. So what I would say is, however you position yourself in your company, prepare for failure. Prepare for failure of the AI market. So I see a lot of organizations building their AI strategy around the positive hype right now. For example, a good example of that is our goal is to embed AI in all our processes, which is, in my opinion, BS. It makes sense as long as AI has this connotation with, oh, that's something cool and everyone is doing that. But what happens next year if one of the big AI players is, crumbling or maybe even totally failing, and then, the market is going down. Now you have this negative, AI thing, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, do we really want to have that in all our processes, right? So prepare for failure. 2025 was the year of the hype, but I think 2026, there will be some kind of consolidation. So hype will further cool down, and you want to make sure that your AI roadmap is still going on and thriving. So how can you do that? Assume that there's just the mental picture for that is there's a certain potential out there right now, what technology can do, and there's stuff that your business needs right now. So how do you bring that together? So don't plan for like the next big model or the next iteration or the agentic futures where robots are doing all the work. If that happens, it should benefit you, but it's not something that you should plan for. So instead, focus on how can we make whatever is out there most efficient right now to help us solve the problems that we already have right now.
The state of enterprise AI in 2026 wouldn't be about magic. It would be about maturity. It's about realizing that profitable intelligence is the only intelligence that keeps the lights on. It's about shifting your workforce from doing the work to directing the agents. The companies that win this year won't be the ones with the flashiest demos. They will be the ones who respected the difficulty of the task and built systems, not just models. As Dennis Rothman reminded us, the future isn't AI replacing us. It's a merger.
It's just going to be like playing an instrument. But you can't see like a musician like Eric Clapton, the guitarist, and he comes on scene and then you just listen to an AI version of him. Because no, it doesn't exist. You need the creativity of a human. A transformer has no emotion. It has the text of emotion, all the emotions in the world in text, but we recreate the emotions. That's why it gives the illusion of consciousness. So I'd say it'll be a merge when the best ones will be the musicians of AI that will know how to play the system, but keep their personality. So I see it merge maybe, I don't know, 15, 20, 25 years. For the moment, everyone's in this like electricity. Yeah, they're there. So just let them go there, but they're going to hit a wall. We're going to have to call people back in for the know-how, and the people with know-how will know how to use it as an instrument.
So be the musician, play the instrument. Don't let the instrument play you. Because here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. The divide in 2026 won't be AI versus human. It will be leaders who understand systems versus leaders who are still chasing demos. Which side of that line are you building toward? Thanks for watching. If you want to dive deeper in any of these expert conversations, check the links in the description. See you in the next one. Bye.